Okay, so it's really, really lovely to have you with me today, Friedel. So I've got Friedel Fink with me today, and Friedel's from a new social enterprise in Plymouth, covering Plymouth and Devon. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah.
having me, Liz.
Yeah, brilliant. And it's called Big Sis. So welcome to the show. And I wondered if you could just start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah, thank you. So I am originally from Germany. I was born in Dresden, and I came to England about 3 years ago. Professionally, I have quite a mixed background. I actually studied architecture and communications. I was very much like in the creative sector. And then really didn't want to work in an office and decided to retrain in some holistic disciplines. So I studied a lot of yoga and meditation and body work. And then through that, kind of slipped into working with young girls and started to do a lot of things around menstrual education. I trained with an organization called A Celebration Day for Girls.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it really bridged this or brought together these different things I'm interested in. I'm interested in creativity, but I really felt like through working with these young girls that something is missing in this particular age group, which
Yeah.
is now what I talk.
Yeah.
Working with 8 to 12-year-olds. And bringing in some of this amazing holistic knowledge that I've learned, but bringing it together in an approachable way. And creativity was the bridge.
Wow.
So started doing mom-daughter workshops with the Celebration Day for Girls first.
Okay.
Some in Bristol and London, and then in Devon as well.
Yeah.
And through that, understanding that this is actually what I want to be working with further.
That sounds like quite a journey of self-exploration as you've gone on as well. So starting in one place, but having this feeling that something wasn't quite right, or there was something a little bit missing, and where that's led you to is amazing. So that sounds like that's all of that experience has kind of led you to set up this new organisation. So do you call it a social enterprise or a community interest company, or does it not really matter? It's called Big Sis, isn't it? So I think that's a really clear, to me, that comes across as like, it gives me a really good view of what you're aiming to do, like to be that big sister, nurturing female, kind of helping through transitional phases in young girls' lives.
Yeah, so on the paper, it's a CIC.
Yeah.
Usually I communicate about it as a social enterprise, but also more and more, because I'm starting to draw more people in and collaborate, it's growing more and more into a community that kind of has a set of values and a specific beneficiary group that we want to work with and for.
Wow.
So it's more and more people saying, how can we get involved? And we're trying to find ways to make that happen and really approach this topic, which for us is pre-puberty and puberty, from different angles, not just we need to talk about this stuff and we need to give the girls the skills, but also to, reach out to parents and schools and carers, everyone who is, caregiver or an inspiration to this younger generation, and open the conversation, really.
Yeah, because that's the key to the organisation, isn't it? Is supporting young girls from, is it 8, around from 8 to 12 and beyond, so through that transitional stage of their life. And I think from what I've read, some of the blogs on the website, and I read some detail on there, it feels like that things are changing in terms of how we deal with that situation. And when you ask people about that time in their life, and you ask women that time in their life through pre-puberty and through that time, there's very mixed reports, isn't it, of how they've experienced it, and then how they've gone on to be a mother through that period as well. I myself have got 2 girls in that age category, so it's going to be hugely valuable for me. But yeah, that's the gist, isn't it? That's what you're aiming to support. So not only the girls themselves, but their family units that support them, and any other support group that could influence that, be it schools or other clubs that they might belong to. It's how we get that support around them through that time, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, parents, it's very important that, like, moms and dads, they really have key roles, and very different ones as well. So we recently actually started to work with dads, and it's amazing. Like, it's so amazing. If they come themselves and say, I want to step into this new role, because your role as a parent is changing in that time of pre-puberty. As much as they're changing, you are, and you're adapting. But for example, there are children where this relationship is really difficult with their parents in the time of pre-puberty and puberty. For me, that was the case personally, and I didn't feel I want to share much with my mom about it. But there were people, and I was always really creative, and I would go to a lot of creative clubs, and there were my role models, the wider community. There were the women that I was like looking to, and trying to figure out who I want to be. It's not for everyone that the mom is there in a way, or maybe it's not wanted so much. So we're looking further as well in our surroundings for who we want to be, and for inspiration and guidance.
It's hugely valuable, because I think you're absolutely right. I mean, even very their parents who are present and willing to do that, even if they are there, I think we still look around ourselves, don't we? Like, as you said, we're looking to other role models in other areas of our lives to work out who we are, aren't we? So we're kind of bouncing off other people as well. So yeah, that sounds amazing. And especially the work that you're doing with dads and daughters, that's something that I don't ever crossed my mind to think that it feels more to me like it's a mum thing for the girls. But actually now I've opened my mind to that. I can see huge value in the dad and daughter connection around that, and having it being open. And I think for the girls, isn't it, it's having them feel that they can be open with the whole family unit as well. Because I think in the past it was a bit of like, oh, got to keep this hidden away.
Yeah, and it's also so valuable for her, like, to have a choice who she goes to.
Yeah.
And if dads, and often that's the case, if they don't actually know what's happening in this time of change for a girl because they haven't been there themselves, how can they support? And so I think it's a basic understanding for that's what's happening in this time for their daughters, and maybe explore in a group. What we open is kind of a group setting, and to what kind of support can they offer. And that's often just like being the rock and being there, for her to come to him and hold space for whatever she needs. And maybe that's something in that development phase that she won't seek so much with her mom. Maybe, we don't know that. Every girl is different.
It's going to be very individual, isn't it? But what you're doing obviously is opening up all of those possibilities to give the girls more options. And that is going to help them emotionally, isn't it? And that's a big part of the work that you're doing, is supporting that whole emotional growth, and how they transition through puberty seems to be quite key, doesn't it, to mental and emotional well-being for the women that they're going to turn into, which is huge, isn't it, for us, I think. Yeah.
Gosh, there's so many things. Like, I actually brought you a few questions from the workshops. We have this well, when we were doing things in person, we had a anonymous question box for the girls.
Oh, brilliant.
They could put in all of the questions they're having about growing up, about the body, about periods, about boys, whatever. And this is like this was for 10 to 12-year-olds.
Okay.
And they actually inspired me a lot also to create something that's also beyond menstrual education, because these questions go into what does it mean to be a girl? What does it mean to be a boy? What can that mean? Like, to give them really the whole spectrum of what they can be.
Yeah.
It goes a lot into what's going on for the other genders. They ask as well about people who have different experiences. They are aware of, some are already aware of adult conversations about sex, about transgender identities. Like, it's a real different generation that's growing up right now. And these questions deserve to be answered,
Absolutely.
every one of them.
Yeah.
And for me, actually, a key question is like to, well, open this space for especially parents to also step into a place of, you don't have to answer immediately, but what do we do if we don't know the answers to these questions? Maybe we can explore together with the kids. Maybe we can do research or consult books for them also to see that we haven't got it all figured out just because we're adults. It's an ongoing journey of question asking, of discovery. That's just life. And so we, in a way, normalize their challenging experiences of puberty, because that kind of goes on in life. It's just change. It's like the emotions, like the weather. One day it's rainy, one day it's sunny. And to normalize that and bring it back to, this is just human experience, and I am here,
And let's explore this together, kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah. Amazing. So it's obviously, it's bigger, isn't it, than just the puberty. It's bigger than that. And,
it is.
And that really covers emotional well-being for everybody, doesn't it? Everyone involved in that journey, the child, the girl themselves, parents, the family unit that's around them, and then the broader groups that they're in as well. There are the support networks. It's fabulous. It sounds amazing. So in terms of what you offer, you've touched on the fact that there's workshops, so and also there's support packs, I think, for schools, and you've got programs running in schools as well, haven't you? Is that right? Is there? So give us an overview of what you offer.
Yeah, pleasure. So we crowdfunded last year in March, and we've got a really nice funding pot that enables us to train mentors to go into schools and work with these girls, 8 to 12, and year, let me think, 6 and 7, sometimes 8.
So that transition from primary to secondary school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're already in communication with schools in Plymouth, and we also welcome other schools who are interested, who might have not picked up on our emails or phone calls, to get in touch with us. So we plan to bring this curriculum, it's 12 workshops, into schools in September, fingers crossed.
Yeah, brilliant.
We have it fully funded, so it's free for schools. And we actually train
huge for schools, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And we do train young students to deliver these workshops. So it's mainly education students, social work students, psychology students, and we're recruiting them at the moment, and they receive quite a comprehensive training. Basically do their placement with us and to become these big sisters,
Amazing. Yeah, that sounds amazing. So that's the schools, what's going on in the schools, and then you've got workshops for daughters and dads, haven't you? And mums and daughters.
It's mainly at the moment it's webinars, and we do mom webinars. and dad webinars. So it's just parents,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Not with the girls at the moment. We decided that the online delivery for our workshops isn't quite suitable for girls.
Okay.
So we're really hoping to be back in space together, where we can make that happen, because it's a lot of interaction based. It's very interactive and creative facilitation based. So there's a lot of crafts, and
Okay.
it's just something we didn't find a way yet to bring that into virtual space.
Yeah.
But with the parents, it's quite easy to open a space to and it's mainly to get confidence at conversations of opening puberty, to refresh this knowledge about what changes are actually going on. How can we support them through giving them a choice of menstrual products, and how to create a positive culture around the menstrual cycle in our homes, but also in schools.
Yeah.
So that's what we do with parents at the moment.
Sounds like that's a great foundation for the parents as
Yeah.
well. So as and when it's safe to run the workshops that are more face-to-face and interactive,
Totally.
the parents have done those courses first, they'll be in really good grounding, it sounds like. Definitely sounds like something for our household. with two young girls. It's interesting actually, in just my personal experience of, I'm experiencing quite a lot of resistance to the conversations, and I feel that in a wider environment or in a group setting, that would be a lot easier to have that conversation when it's facilitated by someone else in a way. I think the girls, however much knowledge they already have that I don't know that they have, I think stops the conversation sometimes, doesn't it? Like, no, Mum, I don't want to talk to you about this. So I personally can see like huge value in what you offer, and definitely in an experience of kind of going through that myself, and then going through motherhood and all the emotional things that we go through as women, how important it is to get those groundings of well-being for our young girls for the rest of their lives, really, isn't it? And to be supported by the men in our lives and the other women in our lives is really important as well. Yeah.
I hear that resistance, Liz, and I think it's really normal. It's also an adjustment process for you. And we all have our own stories with how we grew up feeling about our bodies and about our periods and about our feelings. And these stories are, affecting you in mothering as well. And her questions probably also make you think about your own experience when you were that age. And so it's completely normal to have some resistance there, but also there is, as you say, a huge value in exploring that together with the girls, and maybe also in a group. With the celebration day for girls, it's a mom-daughter workshop, stretched across 2 days. And it's actually really beautiful. Part of the day we spend just with the girls, part of the day before just with the moms, and then we come together and explore what everyone has learned. Wow. And it's an amazing space, because for many moms, it's actually a time when their girls move into teenagehood. They are often on the other side of the spectrum. Maybe they're already experiencing menopause, which is another huge transition.
Another emotional transition, yeah.
And to experience that together and to explore these newness together is actually really, really special.
It all sounds absolutely amazing. So how do we find out more then? I know you've got a website, haven't you? So can you let the listeners know where the best places are to find out more? Go to the website and Facebook, and where else are you on social media?
So the website is www.big-sis, like sister, .co. So it's just CO.
Yes, CO.
No UK.
Okay, yeah.
No UK. And we are also on Instagram and Facebook. And we do have a newsletter, a monthly newsletter with all the
Brilliant.
events and a few inputs,
So you can sign up.
monthly inputs.
Brilliant.
Exactly. So that's possible on the website.
Excellent. Well, I will make sure that I share all of those on my show page and in the Ocean City Radio group on Facebook as well. I think there's going to be lots of families out there that are going to really value what you're offering, and I was certainly very excited to find out that you'd launched and all of the resources that you're offering. It's really exciting. So yes, I would say, go to the website, go to the Facebook page, find out more about Big Sis, and share with your friends, anyone with girls who needs that support through this transition, definitely. So huge thank you, Friedel, for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you and finding out more about Big Sis and what it offers. And I'm pretty sure we'll be signing up ourselves to some webinars and workshops. So yes,
you're welcome. We've got one in a week's time.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to check now. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me. It's been brilliant.
You're welcome.